This is an introduction to REL 2300 World Religions. I will attempt to explain what religion really is. First of all, we want to get to the essence of religion. There are two realities. The first reality is called conditional reality. It is the material realm. It is the realm of our senses. It is the material world. The things that we can see, feel, touch, taste, and smell. Then there's another reality. It's called the unconditional reality. This is the spiritual realm. It is the realm of the spirit. It is the unseen realm, the realm beyond what we can see, feel, touch, smell, and hear. It is the realm, as I said once again, of the spirit. What religion really is, it is not the spiritual realm or the material realm, but is the barrier, the partition, the porous wall or the doors and the windows between which you move from the conditional realm into the unconditional realm. There are things that people do, that they engage in, that they attempt to do to try to connect between the material realm and the unconditional realm. Religion is the wall or the access points between those two realms. And there are practices and teachings and rituals that are utilized to penetrate these two realms. For example, prayer, worship, meditation. In some cases, some people use psychedelic drugs. As one religion, they even licks on toads and frogs to try to alter their state so that they can enter into this other realm. For some, it's the dream state that connects between the material realm and the unconditional realm. It is not the spiritual realm. Please remember that. It is the barrier between it and the practices and rituals that are used to try to navigate between those two realms. There are religious expressions for religion. First, there are theological expressions. Those expressions are what is said about the religion. That includes doctrines, teachings, myths, whatever is taught about that said religion. Then there are practical expressions. As we mentioned before, it is what is done in the religion, whether it be services, rituals, any practices that are engaged in. And then the next we have are sociological expressions, the kinds of groups that are formed by the religion, whether those groups are covens, cults, denominations, any kind of group that is formed as a result of these religions. There are ancient types of religions. The first type of ancient religion is the hunting and gathering religions. This is characterized by many of the traditional Indian and African cultures. Often these tribes, these groups, would survive only if they were successful in a hunt. And in order to be successful, they would appeal to the spirits of the animals or to some spirit, great spirit, to help them to be successful on their hunt. And the purpose of this is to maintain enough food and enough to sustain the tribe, to sustain the village until the next hunting season. And it was important that they were successful. Otherwise, there would be famine and drought, or not drought, but famine. They would starve and not be able to live through this next season. Then there's the agricultural religions, like the Aztecs and other religions like them. Their sustenance, their livelihood, their survival was dependent on having a successful harvest, an agricultural season. And again, there would be many types of activities, sacrifices that would be offered to a deity and poured out onto the ground with the hope that their sacrifice would be accepted and the deity would bless them with a successful harvest that year. And so you have these type of religions. Then there's a third type. We call them cosmic religions. That includes the Druids, Judaism. And these are religions that worshiped the cosmos or the heavenly bodies in the cosmos, or utilized planets and stars and things like that as objects of religious devotion, or use the movement of the sun and the moon as a way to indicate to them when they should and should not worship. For example, with Judaism, they had a cyclical worship every week, and then they had a monthly lunar worship schedule. You have holidays with the Druids. You have holidays like we call them now Christmas, Easter, and Halloween. But when you go back to the Anglo-Saxon, old Anglo-Saxon patterns, these holidays have their origins with ancient Anglo-Saxon practices that are connected to sun worship, where the length of the days or how long the sun traveled across the sky created festivals and special seasons of worship, where if the days were shortened during the wintertime, they would have certain festivals. And then during the spring equinox, when the length of the day and the night were the exact same, then they would have another celebration. These holidays for the Anglo-Saxons in ancient history was adopted by Roman Catholicism and became part of what is called Christian holidays, but they really have their origins with old Anglo-Saxon festivals that were practiced in an attempt to try to attract these pagan worshipers to Christianity. There are common features of religions. One, the absolute, which is the most essential object or concept for a religion. Often it would be a deity who was the most important aspect of the thing that was worshipped. Then you have the world, the religion's view of the world, whether it's the unseen realm or the material realm, the view of what the world was, that they lived in, what it was all about. Sometimes it was narrow to just their village. In other places, it took into the entirely heavenly bodies. Another common feature is what human beings were, what humans are. Who are we? Are we spirit beings? Are we connected to some unseen force like Star Wars? Incidentally, Star Wars has a lot in common with some of the Eastern religions like Buddhism and Hinduism. And so what exactly human beings are, what we're made of, how we're connected to the environment around us. Then another important feature is the problem for humans. What is the big problem that we have? For Buddhism, it's suffering. For Christianity, it's sin. And then, of course, with the problem, there must come a solution. And that particular religion has the solution for that particular problem. Another common feature is community and ethics. The things that would make human lives ideal, the things we could do to make our lives better, whether it be some spiritual activity that would make our life better, or some community activity that would make our life better. For example, in Confucianism, there are lists of things that you could do to be a better human being. Then there is that religion's interpretation of history, the historical story of that particular religion, which may be a biography of the founder of the religion, or the origins of the deities of those religions, or how we found ourselves with the problem that needed solving, the history of that. There's so many different histories that each religion comes up with on their own. There are rituals and symbols of those religions, whether it be statues or signs or pictures or any kind of ritual that is engaged in to make contact with the religion, which may include some symbols or signs or some activity. One important feature of religion is that religion's view of life and death. The religion will often answer this persistent question of what happens when we die. What does it mean to die? In some religions, it doesn't believe that there's even death. You just transition from one life to another. Others have a particular view of death and perhaps some type of rebirth happening at some later date. And so the question of death itself, what is it? Is it the cessation of life, or is it passing on to some other realm or state of being? Lastly, the last common feature of these religions, is its relationship to other religions. Some religions are very welcoming and tolerant of the existence of other religions, and others are completely opposed to, and in some cases violently opposed to, the existence of other religions. And so some religions have good relations, some have very, very intolerant relations to other religions other than themselves. And so these are some of the things that you need to know about religions before we get into each of the religions that we will study this semester. And you will notice that some of these ideas and concepts and features will be highlighted, and in your textbook they will be broken out by some of the categories that we've explained here today. But remember, the last thing I want you to remember is that religion, once again, is really the wall that separates the conditional realm from the unconditional realm, and the doors and the windows and the pathways between this, in this barrier, is what religion is all about. The pathways, the doorways, the access points from the conditional realm to the unconditional realm is what religion is all about. I hope you have a good semester, and I hope this helps you understand religion a little bit better.